Hey guys, my name is Andrew Moran and welcome to the channel. This is my first time making a video like this, but since the year is ending, I thought, why not talk about the films that I really enjoyed this year? And I just want to point out that these are just the films that I think were the best of 2023, but obviously other people have different opinions and I respect those opinions. This is just what I thought, this is just what I saw from my end. And I just hope that, everyone can respect that. Really just think that this year was just really good and it had some good moments, but it also had some bad moments. Obviously, with the writers and actors strike, half the movies that came out this year were very hindered because of the lack of advertisement and the lack of just telling people what the movie was about. Only directors and producers had any say in the matter. But now that strike is over, thankfully, now writers and actors can go back to work as usual and get going and making new content. But enough about that. I just want to get through this before the year ends. And this is my list for the top 10 films of 2023. Number 10. Kicking off our list at number 10 would have to be Air. This movie was about the story of Nike's first shoe deal with Michael Jordan. And it had a really stellar cast, and it was directed by Ben Affleck. Matt Damon was starring as the main character, who was trying to recruit a player to become the new face of Nike. And then that's how we got the story of Michael Jordan signing with Nike. It had a lot of great moments in this movie. The acting was really superb, I thought, especially early in the year. When I first saw it, there was some audio issues, but when it came on to streaming, I actually was able to hear some things better. Ben Affleck really told the story well, and with everything that came together, I think this was just a really good movie that I thought was one of the best films of 2023 so far. Number 9 was a surprise for me because, mostly because I wasn't expecting it to be in the top 10, but it really did its number on me, and that was Dream Scenario. Dream Scenario was an interesting piece, I thought, because while it had Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, and it put him in a movie that was both comedic, but it was also it was kind of sad in a way, because he's trying to figure out why people are dreaming about him, and he becomes this big celebrity basically because of it, but he never asked to be that. And then when something goes wrong, everybody's perception of him changes. And I was telling my girlfriend this movie is basically what I believe is a metaphor for cancel culture. It's because Nicolas Cage just knows what he's doing, and he just performs it so well, and you just kind of get lost in knowing that this story is about people dreaming about this one person. So and like I said, I really just like the idea that this is kind of a metaphor for cancel culture, and I don't know if a lot of people truthfully got that, but I truly did, and this was definitely one of a good film that I was not expecting to like that much. And not to mention, it was also late in the year, so I wasn't really thinking that a movie so late could actually put it on the top 10. Number 8 is another movie that I was not expecting to put on my list because it just came out, but I was trying to really watch a lot of movies that just came out recently before I made this list. And this one made the list because I am a huge fan of wrestling, and I think that they really told the story well, and it's the Iron Claw. Iron Claw at number 8. Zac Efron killed it as Kevin Von Erich. The director obviously is a huge fan of wrestling because of just the way that he tells the story of the Von Erichs. And, because unfortunately Kevin is still the only living Von Erich, he can definitely tell some things are true, and maybe they have some things that are maybe exaggerated a little bit, but the overall story fits to what the actual story is. And I think that, you know, they really did well with everything here that they were given. Even Jeremy Allen White was really good. He's not really in it as much as I thought he was. And some of the other actors just really like played their roles well. And you know, I'm not a big historian when it comes to wrestling, but as I kind of grew older, I kind of was trying to like learn more about like certain people. And then you like watch these guys called the Von Erichs, and they're a tag team, and that's kind of how it goes. It goes basically, it's about a family dynamic with wrestling, and that is just a good combination, and they do it so well. But it's also tragic when you watch the movie, especially if you know what happens, and it just hurts you inside because, you know, so many things could have been avoided, but unfortunately things happen the way they happen, and this is just, in my opinion, a tragically beautifully told story about family and wrestling that I think a lot of people can enjoy. Number 7 has to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I can't say enough about Guardians of the Galaxy. I just really, one, was sad that this was the last movie with this current team, but it was also a swan song and a forgive me note that Disney gave to James Gunn. Because obviously, if you aren't up to date with what happened, James Gunn made some tweets a long time ago that were brought up, and Disney fired him. But after a while, when they couldn't find a director, Disney and Marvel hired him back. So they had to change scripts, they had to change a bunch of stuff. But now they got it back to where James wanted, and because James Gunn's now the head of DC, he wanted to go out on a swan song. So even like those little things that makes each character important, and also telling a tragic story about loss and just hurtful things that happen to animals. And I'm just really glad that James Gunn got to do this one before he left. And hopefully, like, if we ever see these characters again, that they're done well too. But obviously James Gunn's no longer involved with Marvel, so we'll see how that plays out. But this is definitely in that spot. Number 6 is The Boy and the Heron. I knew I was gonna like this movie because it was one of the last quote-unquote movies of Hayao Miyazaki. The Studio Ghibli, like, he was going to retire, but then I guess he saw his son's movie and just decided, yeah, I'm coming back. So he wanted to tell this story, and people were thinking that this was his last one, and it might well be, but this was a really beautifully told story. And he just continues to show why 2D animation is stunningly beautiful even today. In the world of 3D animation, in the world of high-tech graphic animation, 2D animation can still be done and look good. And this is why I love this movie, as well as just the characters, the like entire world. Like, at first you kind of think it's just in the real world setting, but you know, Miyazaki always takes things and curves them and just introduces such beauty in the world and past it. So it's like this new world that they're in is, even though it's not really explored that much, it's breathtaking. You just can't get that anywhere else sometimes. Like, I wish that more like studios did more with 2D animation. And as Guillermo del Toro says, animation is cinema, and this just proves it. Like, this was a beautifully done movie. Unfortunately, it's not in the top 5, but I still like it that much that it's in this spot right here. Number 5 is Godzilla Minus One. I can't say enough about this movie that other people have said about this movie. All I can say is that it's the first Godzilla movie where I actually cared for the people. Probably one of the better Godzilla movies in years. And it's not just because it's Godzilla, it's because of the people in the movie, the actors that played these characters, really made you want them to survive and want them to beat Godzilla. Woo! We're really bringing it down here, but number 4 was, I believe, one of the better holiday movies I've seen in a while, and that is The Holdovers. What a movie that I wasn't expecting to really hit me in the feels that much. Like, it really just touched my heart like so much. Paul Giamatti, I haven't seen him in a lot of movies lately. I'm sure he's doing things, but I only saw him in like a commercial, like where he's like, I think he's Ebenezer Scrooge, and then he's Albert Einstein or something. I forget, but that was the last time I actually seen him. And in this movie, he really performs well, and I think he shines. Like, I know that it's gonna be tough, but if there was a chance that someone could win and pull it up an upset, I think it'd be Paul Giamatti for Best Actor. He was really good in this movie, and his supporting cast was even better. We've narrowed down to the top 3, and I wish that I could put all these in number 1, but unfortunately, since I'm doing a list, I can't. But number 3 has to go to Barbie. Greta Gerwig just did an amazing job on this movie. Me and my girlfriend, we dressed up in pink. We went to take a picture with the car. We took a picture inside the box. We were fully invested in the Barbenheimer trend. And I'm just glad that when I went into the movie theater, there was not an empty seat. Everyone was invested in this movie. I think that Greta Gerwig just did a really good job, from the set design, from the cinematography, from just the choice of actors and actresses playing these characters. She already had in mind like the people that she wanted to play, that she wanted in this movie, and I'm glad that she got everybody that she wanted, because each actor and actress killed it in their role. And you know, even though there was probably a really cringe song about Ken, Ryan Gosling, like, I think the movie is really just a beautiful homage to Barbie, and it kind of shows so much depth and just has like such an interesting story about, you know, women and how much like stuff like women have to go through. And I can't say it enough. I think that it really deserves the top 3 spot, because although I love Barbie, these other 2 movies, they really blew my socks off. Number 2 has to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The animation in this movie, I can't say enough, is just amazing. How each style of animation is changed, and how we see different animations play out through different universes is just insane. And seeing Miles Morales grow as not just a person, but as Spider-Man, and learning what it means to be Spider-Man is such a great, like, it's what I want to see in a Spider-Man movie. And you also learn more about what it means to be Spider-Man. But it's not even just Miles. They did so much with even Gwen. Like, Gwen has grown so much as a character that I just loved seeing how she changed throughout the entire movie, because in the first few moments you see the world in her perspective, and then as you see the movie go on, you see it end in her perspective. So we all know what happens next. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. I mean, if it's anybody's guess, I mean, you probably already know which movie is number 1, but if you want me to say it, I'm gonna say it. It was Oppenheimer. When I watched Oppenheimer, first off, I watched it the way that Nolan wanted me to watch it. I watched it in the front row, down middle, 70 millimeter IMAX. I watched it that way. The reason why I have Oppenheimer in the top 1 is this is mainly it at this point. I have never, in my life at least, to my knowledge, held on to my seat at the idea that this bomb was gonna go off, even though they were telling me it was coming. And when the scene was starting, I was on the edge of my seat. I never gripped my seat so hard because I knew what the bomb could do, and I knew I was in the front and it was just gonna blow me away. But I held on so tight, and when it happened, I almost didn't have anything to say. I was just amazed by how beautiful it looked. And not to mention that this was not CGI, this was all practical. The ending really left me speechless because it is something that you actually think about today. What they created in the Manhattan Project, or you know, the bomb now, what they've created from there has doomed us because of how much more of those we actually have today. And that is terrifying. And that is what I think impacted me so much about this movie. And that is why it's in my top one, because I never had felt so much suspense for a single scene and for the impact that the movie had left afterwards. I think that is why it's in my top one. So that is it for my video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I've been rambling for so many minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Tell me what your top 10 movies of 2023 were, and we'll converse. I love hearing about people's opinions, and I love hearing about movies that other people love. But anyway, guys, that is it, and thank you guys for watching.